Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey chapter 287. It is the second day of the week, aka the special bean cannon workout. I am very tired right now. I'm actually feeling a little bit just a little frazzled dazzled. Not that much, but still enough to say that that is today's subject matter. I'm tired, boss. Basically, it's just more of a fatigue load management thing that's happening right now. I'm going to go into it in the details in the voiceover and stuff, but right now I am currently at 203 flat in terms of weight. So that is something that that is going well in the cut area, but I'm starting to get to that point where my energy and my recovery is starting to go down a little bit, and it's not very good. Now, okay, this was just based on one workout, which was yesterday. Yesterday could have been an anomaly. I didn't get much sleep last night, technically, so today might be all right, but we're going to have to wait and see. Future Oscar is going to let me know. But if this continues for the rest of the week and then keeps going the next week, I will know that I'm going to probably have to stick around these weights for a good while because they have already been a challenge one day. Got to see what today's looks like, and going to probably stick around here for a good while, most likely. Just going to have to start not necessarily dialing it back, but just stagnating a little bit. So then that way it's not necessarily I lose any intensity, but we'll get into all the nerdy shit and all that details when we get downstairs. But before we get into that, I want to say I am making progress on the cut, so I am happy about that. That is one thing, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to Mother Base.
I just started this day off with squats, which were pretty good. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand here. I'm tired, boss. The main reason why I wanted to discuss this today was because I was truly tired this week. Looking back at it now, because I've changed a lot of my, I guess, not necessarily programming, but the way I've been progressing in my lifts and all that other stuff. I actually changed it since this entire episode, and it's actually been for the much better. So basically, right now, I feel like the cut has had its effect on me, which is kind of annoying. So now I feel the weight loss having hit harder. Now, is it a significant amount? No. What I'm trying to do is mitigate any of the strength loss that's slowly happening over time with this. So what I did so far is that I've basically cut off the progression schemes for a little bit, aka I've basically tried to stay stagnant with how many sets I do in a week and how much weight I do in a week. The intensity and the volume stay relatively the same week per week, with some exceptions for certain exercises depending on how I feel they are. So if they are something like, let's say, the hip thrust, that is an exercise where I feel like I can keep going up and I can bring up the intensity and the volume slowly and kind of exchange the two and continue to grow there because there's a lot of room for growth. But there are other exercises where I feel like that room for growth isn't necessarily there. So I'm just stagnating a little bit, and I'm working the weight a little bit more per week. Let's say I stay stagnant for another 2 to 3 weeks, really grind out the volume and intensity to the point where the intensity starts going down, and then up the volume a little bit, and then once that seems easy, then go down in volume but up in intensity. So it's about the managing it all together. So I'm trying to get more out of less weight, basically, is the entire idea. And then I've been trying to manage as much fatigue as I can. Obviously, sleep has been decent. Unfortunately, on this week I didn't get much sleep. I don't even know why. I think it just happens, but more so likely than not, getting more sleep has helped a little bit in this. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with the entire lack of sleep when it comes to some of these days, because that can happen when doing certain dieting levels. So that hasn't happened quite yet, thankfully. But I'm still slowly going down now. I'm at about 200 pounds, give or take a little bit. 200.1 pounds now, to be exact. This is closer to where I started when I started my job about a year ago. It took me forever to get some of that poundage off, but it is what it is. Some things like that just kind of have to happen. But I will say this, my strength loss has really not gone down. The only thing I've really lost strength in is my squat and RDL, which was for a different episode for a different day. But basically they've gone down because I've had to redo my entire form for them. So that's kind of something that's been happening, but that's kind of something different. I will say this, do I think that my joints have been affected because of the cut? A little bit, but also form really has been not so great on those two types of things for longevity purposes. So I went back to the drawing board for both of those to try to get them better because my knees were fucking feeling it. It hurt to walk for a little bit there. So I definitely went back to the drawing board. And speaking about walking, that's actually one of the things that I actually decided to add this time because I was like, I have a walking pad. Let me actually use it. So I've decided to add some cardio into my weekends. So then that way, even though they're quote unquote rest days, I wanted to do something that's a little bit more, just something more active. So then that way I can have an active rest and make it so that I could lose that extra couple of calories, especially because the calories on the weekend are probably the toughest part. But it's not the worst. And I've figured out a system now where I can get like what is considered a refeed on the weekends, but also not let it affect my calories too much during the week, which is just doing protein sparing modified fast days in the middle of my week and just doing that. So basically just giving up all carbs and fats basically in a couple of days, and that cuts my calories down significantly and just helped me keep them down. So I think this is going to be a strategy that I would probably just continue to do and probably implement more and more as I just continue losing weight. It has been a slow race because I don't want to rush into it. I understand that there are some people that believe rushing into it just makes more sense. Getting it all over with and done first and foremost is best. But I do believe that for me personally, the way to keep it off is to make sure that I slowly get it out and not really worry about getting it all off at once, because the process is going to suck. But I know that if I do it all at once, I've been there before and the fatigue hits hard. For me, I can deal with the little fatigue as it accumulates versus the big fatigue that all of a sudden is going to get me to start binging on a bunch of stuff.
And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed, none. Exercises skipped, also none. Got everything in, thankfully. So, I am tired. I can tell you that right now. I still am tired. I am very, very tired. Even after today's workout, which I thought would be a little bit easier, it's still just as tough. So, it is what it is. So, I'm not going to, still going to give it the entire week before I start, making it so I have to kind of, I wouldn't say I'm gonna probably taper off. I'm not gonna necessarily do anything else in terms of programming changes. It's more of just a staying the same weight, staying the same intensity, seeing how that goes. If anything starts going down as the poundage goes down, then there it is. At 190, I think I'm gonna do a physique, just check out, what is it? Physique update. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. I think I'm gonna do one of those at 190 when I get there, just because I want to show what the hell I've been working on and see how much more I have left to lose. Because I'll probably try to get to 180 and then we'll see how maintenance goes there. But we'll see about that. I've talked a big game about that before, but I think this time I figured out a couple of diet things, which I hoped I talked about in the voiceover, which has really helped a lot. So we'll talk more about. I've already talked about that. But anyways, with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one was more of a random one, but it is just the ebbs and flows of how things go in this channel. So please let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will see you in the next one. Keep it heavy. Stay safe. Stay cool out there. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.